Hi everyone. Here in today's video, I'm going to show you how to do a quick render turnaround out of Maya using Arnold. So you can see over here in this scene, I have set up a set of objects and a little platform for them. And in the background, we have Arnold's skylight that will just light the whole space evenly. So if you want to see what this looks like, I'm going to hit 6 to show me everything with shading. If you want to like deselect your sky dome light, go ahead. Now you can see and move around over here. We have this world that's set up for us. If you want to see what this render looks like in 3D in an Arnold render, you get to go over here into Arnold and open the Arnold render view. And once that's open, you want to hit play, which will show you what this world looks like. If this doesn't work for you, you can obviously take your time and edit and correct whatever is like whatever isn't working for you overall. But for the purposes of this particular demo, all I really need is something so that I can set keys on it, do my turnaround, and then go from there. So we're not going to fiddle with the shaders or anything. All we're going to do is remind ourselves to hit 3 on the platform so that we don't get these polygon edges that you can see over here. Pretty much everything else is smoothed and looks okay. So I'm going to click that stop sign so that it doesn't keep auto rendering, although if you close the thing it won't matter. And let's quickly just set up to make this revolve. So at this point in time, I'm going to just also activate my viewport resolution gate. This is this gray space over here, which kind of tells you what area of your screen is going to be rendered. And just as an FYI, if you are rendering like this, then anything outside of this box isn't going to get rendered, which means you'll miss like the top of the blue, you'll miss the edges of the platform, all of that fun stuff, or not so fun stuff. So remember, when you are setting things up to rotate in particular, make sure your camera is where it should be. And isn't, cutting out a lot of information in the process. So this seems like a very nice sort of tight setup. And if you think about it, I can just open up my outliner over here. If I want to spin this around, I can select all of these things and hit Control G. And we can do a quick rotation just to see how this is going to look. So you can see as I rotate this left and right, only on the y-axis, I'm getting a pretty good sense of what's going to be visible on my screen. So if I want to, I can of course zoom in a little bit. I can tighten this a little more, make it a lot easier overall and just work on it from there. So here's this group, and now our next step is just to set keys. Simple stuff. Let's make sure that we're rendering a certain number of frames. Let's do 150. So I'm going to just bring this down to 155 so I have a little wiggle room. And on this group, we'll call this the turnaround group. And I'm going to hit S for set key. And actually I should make it 0 and then set that key. And you'll understand why in a second. Hit S. And then I'll come to frame 150 and I will put in 360 degrees or 360 for the rotation value. What that should do is it won't look like anything's happened, but trust me, something has happened. And you know this because when you skim across your timeline, you'll see an adjustment. Also, if you hit play down here in your animation timeline, it'll show us what's happening. Now, one of the things that we don't like is how it slows down and speeds up. This is Maya's automatic tangents that are sort of making sure that there's sort of like an ease in and ease out. But for a turnaround, you don't really need that. So I'm going to just go ahead and edit that by going into my animation editors over here and click on my graph editor. This will come up And because this is already selected as a group, you can see the keys are already available. And this is obviously our offending curve, because this is the thing that's showing a flat tangent over here, coming up sharply sloping, and then sort of gently flattening again. These flattening, like gentle flattenings, are essentially your ease-ins and ease-outs. So if I grab this, if I just click on this button over here, this will make it a linear tangent. And that means if I hit play, I will now get a very consistent and even animation. One final thing that I'm going to do, because I don't want it to feel like it sort of stops in the middle if I want to loop this video, I'm going to just hold down Shift, click on this, and then move this 1 frame forward. That just allows me to get that 1 degree difference that I need to make sure that my rotation, my animation is perfectly smooth. So now that we've done this, we are essentially ready to render. Now, if you've never done this before, you need to come here to your rendering menu. With Arnold, we don't use our standard batch render, which is this over here. Instead, we go up into render sequence. That's because Arnold works with a slightly different process. So I'm going to go over here into my render sequence, and I'm going to just double check all of this. This is fine. You know, we don't need to worry about this. We need to hit render sequence. But wait, there's one other step, which is let's make sure that our render settings are actually going to render out 150 frames. So let's go over here into render settings. That's next to that blue ball, blue eyeball. Hold on, I just did something. I'm going to undo it just in case. Here next to the blue eyeball, there's a render settings window, and this allows us to just quickly clean up and make sure that we are taking out files, putting them in the right places, all of that fun stuff. This is your project, the path file that it's using. If you don't have it set to the right project, go over here, choose your project. So I can do my cool project, I can do my dip scans, I can do my people stuff, whatever I'm doing. Let's go with cool project, hit set. So it's actually going to put this somewhere. And then I'll say, call it loop for now, but this is the file name that I'm choosing. Your image format will control what image you are exporting it as. This is fine. You can change it to 16 so that there's actually transparency. And here's this. We've got color space, view transform is fine, but we need frame animation extension. This you really have to change if you're doing an image sequence, because otherwise, if you're stuck to a single frame, you're in trouble. Your next stop is name number extension. No matter what, you choose name number extension. It doesn't matter if there's an underscore or a period or not anything in between, just as long as you have extension at the end. I'm going to reduce my frame padding to 3 just because that makes my life a little easier. And I'm going to put in 150 frames, start frame, end frame. And here's my renderable camera, and this is my size. If you want to change the size that you're rendering out in, like HD 540 to HD 720, 1080, you can go to 4K, you can do a variety of different things, or you can put in your own custom stuff as well. So these are very important because this is the actual size of your output, and you will have very low quality if you don't. So once you've got this, you're set. And you can come in over here and you can hit render sequence and close. Something that I like to do in these situations is I'll open up my script editor so I can kind of follow along. But if that's not your jam, that's fine too. Just hit render sequence and close. And immediately you'll start to see render views happening, and then you just have to wait. So I'm going to let this render out, and I'll be back so that we can put this together and take a look. All right, we're back. The rendering has completed. You can see there's some kind of alpha thing happening here. but we don't need to worry about that. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to open up Adobe Encoder, and I can just hit the plus sign, which will then allow me to find my images in Cool Projects. So you can see I already had another render, but this is our loop. We can bring it in as a PNG file sequence, and because we had a 3 for frame padding, we can bring this in like so. The good thing about this is you don't have to go into After Effects, you don't have to do anything. You just need to make sure that you are putting this somewhere. So I'm going to just make sure that I put this in the movies section, and call it, and we can give it a name or do whatever, and I'll leave it with the numbers that it has. But essentially now we can just do our Adobe Media encoding. And that's it. So let's just grab our file from here, Cool Project, movies. You can see, oh, here. And this becomes our little loop. If I do this, you'll see it'll actually rotate with 0 interruptions, which is what all of that was about. And that is how you do a turntable.